Okay, recording start.
Okay, uh, guys, hi. This is Yagnavi, and from here we can just continue our explanation about our knowledge area. So we are seeing about the project cost management. First of all, for a construction project or any project, we'll be dealing with cost as a main and important aspect. Without cost, there will not be any project will be occurred or will be able to track or whatever may be. So cost plays an important role for a project. Saying about the cost, so we need to first of all we need to plan or we need to estimate the total cost for the project, so that is nothing but our preparation of the budget. So we know that budget is cannot be prepared in one extent. It has multiple iterations and it needs to revise it multiple times as per the records or as per the details is being provided. For example, if you see in the initial stage, we'll be just having a rough picture upon the cost. In the project charter preparation, we'll be asking the client that for this particular project, how much will be your contribution or how much will be your idea for with respect to budget. They may say that we'll be allocating 1 million Canadian dollars for this particular project. So that will be a rough estimate based upon the square feet they have planned, which will be referred with the historical data, or which will be compared with the previous projects which they have done. So initially that will be the budget, but after that we'll have the design finalization. The many drawings will be finalized. So based upon the drawings, the our estimators or the cost engineers will be performing estimations, and they will be incorporating cost for each and every activities. So they will be finalizing what are the packages are there in this particular project. For example, there will be multiple packages like electrical, plumbing, other than civil and structural. Then it may have the glazing works, facade works, external development works. So these are the packages. So based upon the packages, we will be incorporating the rates and we will be arriving the total amount. This amount will be the rough estimate till it gets approved from the client. The client will be approve the budget only if there is a reliable backup data. For example, the estimators should prepare the budget based upon the exact tender drawings, and they need to know about the stakeholders who are being engaged with this. So once they got these many details, they will be preparing the detailed version of the budget, and this detailed budget will be shared with the client, and the client will have a multiple reviews and multiple comments on that, such that cost optimizations will be done on each and every activities. And once these optimization are done, that particular amount will be freezed and that particular amount will be called as a project budget. So once the project budget is been approved by the client, it will become a part of the project document. So once the project documents, similar to the schedule or what we seen in before knowledge area, project schedule management, similar to that, here also once the project budget is being approved, that will be as a base, or it will be like a that will be taken as a base during the execution purpose. For example, if you take the construction project, once the project starts, monthly, we'll have multiple expenses. For a client, they need to bear all the expenses. They are the responsible for the cash flows. They will be providing or they will be uh, spending their own cost. So they will have the cash flows. The cash flow is nothing but that is an S curve. We need to prepare a curve based upon the budget what we have prepared. Monthly, it's nothing but monthly how much we are estimating or how much we are projecting the cost that will be occurring to the project. So if for example, if you take the project is for 2 years, so in the first year of the first month we will be estimating for example thousand Canadian dollars. I'm saying as an example. But if our expenditure exceeds like 1,500 Canadian dollars, so there is a delta of $500. So that $500 will be more we are spending with respect to the planned. So in the next month, similarly, we'll be having some planned budget, but what we spend at the site will be somewhat higher. Then that should be some steps to be taken why there is in delta, or why there is in fluctuations or difference between the planned versus the actual. If there is any specific reason, we have to find out the reason, and we have to modify, or we need to do the S curve again. We need to plan the cash flow again, or else we need to do some cost uh, value engineering. Like we need to find the way to reduce the cost monthly expenses. So these kind of things are done in the monitoring and controlling phases. So as I said before, we have planning phase and the monitoring controlling process group. So with respect to the cost management, we have three processes under the planning phase and one processes under the monitoring and controlling phase. The planning phase has planning for the budget and then applying it, and then the monitoring and controlling phase has how to control the cost. So control cost is the process which coming under the monitoring and controlling project process group. Okay, next one is the project quality management. So we have seen the schedule, we have seen the cost. Now it comes the quality. So quality is also the main aspects for our project. Without having a defined quality management plan, we cannot able to justify our project has been done in a quality wise in a better manner. So there will be some expectation with the client how the project needs to be done, in what level of quality it should be done. So once we are getting the information or gathering the information from the client with respect to the quality management plan will be prepared. With respect to the quality management plan, we will be applying it during our execution stage. If you see, as per our PM book edition, what they have saying about the quality is like we should plan for the quality, and we should manage the quality, and we should have the control over the quality. So these are the three main aspects with respect to the quality management plan as per the PM book, sixth edition flow chart. Okay, for example, we can say like um, for construction projects during that planning stage, we'll be asking the contractor to provide the method statements. The method statement is a document in which it states about how the project needs to be executed, like each and every activity. For example, method statement for the concreting works, method statement for the block work, method statement for the plastering work. If in that method statement for the concrete works, they will be saying that soon after the the concrete should be in this much temperature, it should have this much of workability, it should have this much grade of concrete, it is this much. So these are the aspects which has been mentioned in the method statements. And also they'll be saying the curing time is this much. If there is any shortage in the some delta with respect to the quality, so the particular contractor will be penalized for not maintaining the quality. So these are the main aspects with respect to the quality management knowledge area. And other things involves okay. So these are the main things which is related with the quality management. So three main aspects we have to remember for the quality management, project quality management knowledge areas. One is planning, one is managing, and then is controlling it. So this is with the quality management plan. Next, we will be moving to the project resource management plan, which will be explained by Athira.
Thank you, Yaknavil. Next is project resource management. As we all know, various resources like material, equipments, human resources, all are necessary for the execution of a project. So here we are planning what are the resources required, how we can collect all these resources, how we can manage the resources. All these details are discussed in this knowledge area. Mainly, it involves six process groups. For considering the example of a construction of a pile, we can explain it. For a pile, we already know the drawing. We have a drawing and also have a plan. So based upon the drawing, we can calculate the quantity of the materials required and as well as the human resources required. So in the first process, we have to estimate what are the resources required. For example, in the site, we require various human resources like field engineers, site supervisors, laborers, workers, and so on. So in the first process group, we are how to estimate what are the resources that we require. Then in the second process, that we have to calculate the exact quantity of these resources. For example, the activities are carried out in a sequence. So what resources are required at which time? That we have to discuss in the second process. For example, for the concreting process, we required some materials for the concreting and also the human resources for the concreting work. So such resources has to be analyzed and estimated in the second process. Then based upon these estimated quantities, we can have to acquire the resources in the third step. The resources may be available in the various areas or they may be available in different from the different sources. So we have to acquire all these resources from the various sources. For example, by collecting the human resources, we need experienced project manager. So we have to acquire that project manager for our project from the some other sources. In a similar way, we have to acquire all the resources for the project or the activity in the third step. Then the acquired resources have different characteristic or different behaviors. We have to manage or evaluate or develop a team according to our project. And here we have to provide different trainings. We can provide their feedbacks and what are the steps that we have to adopt to make us a team. All this has to be done in a developed team. For example, some softwares has to be need to be not in the project. So we have to provide training for that softwares. In the similar way, we have to develop a team according to our project. The next process group, that is in the management, we have to evaluate the performance of the team and provide feedbacks, or if there is a good performance from one team member, we have to appreciate them. And in the last stage, we have to control it. We have to control their performance according to the work. And there's a template which shown the resource calendar. This resource calendar is helpful to acquire the resources because it shows the when the activity start, when the activity end, and how much resources required. So based on that resource calendar, we can acquire the resources accordingly. That's all about resource management. Next is communication management. In project communication management, we have communication is very essential for the project. Maybe two-way communication or one-way communication. That's very essential. The project communication can be done within the organization, that may be within the team members or within the organization, or from the external stakeholders or other resources. So this project communication is generally carried out by meetings or video conferencing or calls. For example, if there is any issue in the related to the cost of a project, we can set a meeting with the client or the owner of the project, and we can discuss what are the issues and how we can solve that issue. So in that way, we can communicate with them and solve that issue. In the similar way, there's a chance of one-way communication. That is, when the performance of a team is very weak, the team has to organize a conference or meeting, and the project manager has to evaluate their performance, and they can provide guidance to the team members. So that communication in these two ways is very essential for the success of the project. That's all about project communication management. Next is project risk management, that will be explained by Yatnavel.
Thank you, Atira. Here, myself, Yagnavel. I'm just going to explain about the project risk management. Okay, first of all, what is called as risk? As per the project or as per the project, like a PM book, what it defines is like risk is like an activity which is predicted in before, and we will be taking action accordingly. For example, if you say in a construction project, we may have multiple risks in multiple aspects. In safety, we may have multiple risks. In quality, we may have risk. We may have a risk with respect to schedule, and also we may have a risk with respect to the cost. So predicting those kind of risk in before and having a response plan or having some more mitigation plan is the main aspects or the things or the processes which will be involved with this particular knowledge area. Here we will have to have a risk management plan. But in that this risk management plan will be prepared in the planning stage itself. So we'll be listing out the possible risk with respect to all the aspects, risk with respect to safety, cost, schedule, quality. So all those risks will be listed out, and this risk will be analyzed by having multiple meetings, discussions with the stakeholders, and have the mitigation plan or the risk like a response plan. We can take a practical example with respect to the construction field. For example, if you are planning for a material which needs to be imported, for example, take it as an flooring material which is an tile or a granite. That particular flooring granite should be get imported from any of the nation, say like Italy. So Italian marbles are famous, and which needs to be as per the architect's specification and design. We need to lay the Italian marble for our flooring. But uh, due to some reasons like COVID, or to do some reasons like there is any issue with the logistics. Like recently we have Suez Canal got blocked with one of the ship which got stuck in between the Suez Canal. So these kind of activities which are not predicted in before, but we need to have some consideration for those activities that may cause delay in our procurement and with the deliverable. So we need to have a like a mitigation plan or the response plan. In that case, we need to have a change in the design, and we need to go with the local vendor itself. Using the any locally available flooring, we have to complete the project, which will be the alternate one. So that kind of alternative plan or the response plan should be formulated in well in before. That is called as risk assessment plan. So these are the things which will be coming under planning stage. And during the monitoring and control stage, we will need to compare with the risk registers. Initially we would have prepared the registers with the list of risk. So we should compare with the actual things, and we need to get into a picture that what are the risks we analyzed before and how it works. If it works in a fine way, we will not have any response plans. And if we are having any risk, what we predicted before, we need to apply the our response plan in a timely manner, such that we will not have any delay to the cost, I mean delay to the schedule, as well as we don't have any impact to the cost. So these are the main aspects for the project risk management, which I said in a code. As per the PMBOK edition, we have planning risk management plan as one of the process, and then we have identifying the risk, and we have risk analysis with respect to qualitative and quantitative part, and we have preparation of risk response plan, and we have the monitoring and controlling the risk. So only the monitoring and controlling risk process will be coming under the monitoring controlling process group, and other will be coming under the planning process group. So moving to the next part. Project procurement plan, that will be explained by Adira.
Thank you. The project procurement management is nothing but we have to identify and acquire what are the procurements that we need in a project. Here we have three process. plan procurement, conduct procurement, and control procurement. Procurement is nothing but what are the things that we need to rent or purchase or contract from the external sources. So in planned procurement, we have to identify what we need to procure and what we need to rent, and which are the resources available which are the resources that we available, and identify the best resources from that. That is the planning stage. And for example, if you need a special equipments like or a special employee, we need to identify which is the best source for that. And normally we are bidding that process, and from the available bidders, we have to choose the best contractor. And in the next stage, we have to conduct the procurement by agreeing by conducting a contract agreement with the source, and we have to we have to engage an agreement with them, and identify the best sources, and collect the resources from them. And the last stage, we have to control the procurement, as we have to check whether the work is going according to our agreement, or if there is any change, we have to do that changes. That is a normal procedure in control procurement, in procurement management. In procurement resources, there's a template which shows the project procurement plan template. Here we have the procurement statement, what are the cost of that source, and from where we have to collect it, what are the definitions. All these have to be included in this template, and based upon the best sources available, based on the best source, we have to choose and agree upon a common agreement. That's all about procurement management. Next is project stakeholder management. The stakeholder management.
Sorry guys, actually my video got into trouble. Yeah, thanks Adira. From here, I just explain about the project stakeholder management. Project stakeholder management. This deals with the stakeholders. So who are the stakeholders in a project? The stakeholders are the particular persons or an organization who are involved with the project. For example, we can have multiple stakeholders, like stakeholders can be like a contractors or the vendors or the suppliers or the supplying the labor forces alone or supplying the materials. So these are the different type of stakeholders. Even the stakeholders can be like indirect stakeholders also. Like if you're having a project of building a residential building, and this residential building is being funded by a bank, then that particular bank will be a financial source, which is a bank, which will be called as a stakeholder. And also the persons or the parties which buys the houses or the apartments of the from the particular project will also be called as an stakeholders. Those are the external stakeholders. uh, Further moving into the project specific stakeholder management, we need to identify stage itself. We need to identify the who are the stakeholders, or who are the type of stakeholders will be getting involved in this project. That gives us a clear picture about the everything about the cost and so identifying the stakeholders in the initialization stage itself, it's been a prescribed one as per the PM book. So soon after identifying the stakeholders, we need to plan the stakeholders. Like planning in the sense, we need to have a better understanding that when the stakeholders when in which stage they need to get into the project. Those kind of planning will need to be done in the planning stage. And then managing the stakeholders, this managing will be coming under the execution process group. During the execution process group, the different stakeholders will be involved for the project. For example, if you take the project, a construction project, there will be electrical vendors, will be electrical contractor will be doing the work, civil contractor also will be doing the work, plumbing contractors will also doing the work. So all many stakeholders will be doing the work. So there should be a coordination between the each stakeholders. So those kind of managing the stakeholders is also a part of a process. So those things will be coming under the execution process group. And the monitoring the stakeholders for an construction projects, we can't say that every stakeholders will be doing their optimum part. They may be leaving the scope in between. For example, if their scope is doing the masonry and plastering work, some contractors will leave the job only after doing the masonry itself, because they would have some issues with the payments, or they will have some disputes with the clients or with some other stakeholders. So this kind of things may happen in the stakeholder management. So we need to have the response plan for these kind of things. We need to arrange for the alternate stakeholders for rendering particular job. So these are the main aspects which will be done in a particular project like construction projects. So all these aspects will be grouped under this knowledge area, which is called as project stakeholder management. Okay, moving to the next one. Here we complete all the knowledge areas, process group, and the processes. Ajay will be continuing the furthermore slides.
Hello. So I'll
Yes,
be
Ajay.
asking Q&A question and answer to Yagna. So the
Yes, please.
first question is how many process the closing process group hold?
First question is how many process the closing process group hold.
Yes.
So the right answer will be B option, option 1. Am I right, Ajay?
Yes, you are right. The second one will be the control schedule comes under which process group?
Okay. Again, it's option B, monitoring and controlling.
Okay. Yes, it is right. And the third question will be, what is the name of process where cost is grouped under monitoring and controlling knowledge area?
So according to the PM book, they are giving the term like manage cost for the cost which is grouped under monitoring and controlling. So option A, manage cost.
Yes, it is correct.
Since it's not a live session, we three of them had this Q&A session. If it is a live in-class session, we will be asking with the our audience. So this is ending the Q&A session.
So moving to the summary section, we have 5 processes, that is initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. And there are 10 knowledge areas, which is the project integration management, scope management, schedule management, cost management, quality management, human resource management, communication management, risk management, procurement management, and stakeholder management. And in these 5 process and 10 knowledge areas, we have a total of 49 process groups. And we think our explanation is enough to understand what all these things are. And I think all the data is very clear for you. And thank you for listening us very patiently. That's all. There are some references of our work. And thank you so much.